Faucha, hello and welcome to Keith's Whisky Vlog. My name is Keith, and as well as here on YouTube, you will find me on Instagram at WhiskyTourGuideKeith, all one word. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I am doing a little tasting review for you today. You've maybe noticed there's a bottle of whisky on my table. I say a bottle of whisky, there's not actually very much left in it. I've been saving this one for a little while to do a tasting review for you. It's a bottle that's intrigued me since I got it. Quite a unique whisky and quite exclusive as well. Not that expensive, but quite exclusive, so I'll talk you through it. Not from any particular distillery. This is Finlaggan. Now Finlaggan is a brand which is owned, if you like, by the Vintage Malt Whisky Company from Glasgow. They've got a few different whiskies in their sort of stable, if you like, and I'll talk about some of them near the end of this review. But this particular one is one of 900 bottles, limited release, and it was released in the year 2017. So it's Islay single malt from the island of Islay. Feis Ile 2017. Now Feis Ile, I am not a native Gaelic speaker, so for any Gaelic speakers, sorry if I offend you with any pronunciations, but Feis Ile translates literally as Festival Islay, the Islay Whisky Festival. So in 2017, this was released by the Glasgow company, the whisky company, as a special limited edition release. So this is one of 900 bottles. It's cask strength, so it's 55, quite a meaty 55%. Packs a bit of a punch, and it's a port wood finish. So they've used port wood barrels, whisky casks to finish it off. Now you can't really see it so well here, but what really got me as much about this whisky is that because of the portwood finish, because it's quite young, so there's not that much real depth of colour to it, but it's almost got a little pink tinge to it. Pink whisky. Now it reminds me a lot of, the only other whisky I've seen like this was, I think it was the year before, it was in 2016, Hepburn's Choice, so another brand, if you like, another whisky company, independent bottler, Hepburn's Choice, the brand that they use. They had a 7-year-old Kalila. So it was distilled in 2009 and it was bottled in 2016. I think there was something like 412 bottles, if I remember correctly. And again, it was quite sharp, but it was also quite pink in colour. So the Finlaggan portwood finish, cask strength, and that wee Kalila, the Hepburn's Choice Kalila 7-year-old. If you can get one, get one. It was really good. I doubt you'll be able to get one now. They'll be as good as gone. I managed to get one for myself. My good lady wife gave me some whisky tokens for my birthday that year, and I spent them on that little cheeky pink Kalila. Now I'm going to pour this, and who knows, you might be able to see the pinkiness. Let's put a couple of close-up shots for you as well. Oh, it's a really, really, really interesting whisky, this one. I'm going to pour the lot. It's probably got a decent dram that's left. It's not too bad, it's about normal. But I had this one as my sort of collection, in my collection bottles for a while, and then I decided I'm going to drink it. I've shared it with a few friends. You know who I'm talking about, anyone who's had a little snifter out of this. Absolutely lovely. Now Finlaggan, basically it's a mystery distillery. I don't know which distillery it comes from on Islay. Now if you watch a lot of these videos, if you know me, you'll know that I spend quite a lot of time on Islay doing sort of whisky tours there. And in the pub, which is obviously the best place to get the local knowledge, one night I was assured by one of the barmen, whose dad worked in Lagavulin, that this is not from Lagavulin. So it's therefore one of the other, well, it would have been 7 at the time. Ardnahoe wouldn't have been producing whisky. Now it's got a bit of Lagavulinness about it. If I had to guess, just purely on taste, I would go for Lafroig. But if I had to bet, I would say it's probably from Kalila. Now they produce loads of whisky, and a lot of independent bottlers get some new make spirit or some semi-aged whisky from Kalila part mature it themselves, bottle it, etc. So who knows, but it's a mystery distillery. It just adds to the special cachet of the bottle. Now, Finlaggan Castle, Isle of Islay, you can't really see it in the picture here, but Finlaggan it was the home of the Lords of the Isles. Now, the Lords of the Isles were sort of almost like a mini king, if you like, from who knows when, maybe the 800s, the 900s. They were an early rival of the kings of the Scots, the Scottish kings, the early Scottish kings. So on Islay, so I'll move the bottle across, we'll go for the trusty Whisky Tour Guide Keith pointer, and we'll go back to our little map. So obviously we have Scotland. Down here we have the island of Islay. Now, the Lords of the Isles controlled as far up as the Outer Hebrides, the Isle of Skye, all the way down here, the peninsula, the entire peninsula, the Isle of Arran, Bute in here. So pretty much most, if not all, of the islands off the west coast, and a little bit of the mainland as well. And even as far as parts of Ireland, the Isle of Man, which would be down about here. So there were seafarers descended probably from the Vikings, the Norse, and the Gaels from Ireland, and the home was here on Islay, sort of just in the north of the island. So you have Loch Finlaggan. In the loch are two little islands. One's a little bit bigger than the other, and that was where Finlaggan Castle was, the sort of the home, if you like, the seat, as we say, of the Lord of the Isles. And right next to it is another little island, and that was connected by a little causeway, and that was known as the Council Island. So whenever there was business to be thrashed out, the Lord of the Isles would bring in all these sort of underlings. They'd come, the different sort of clan chiefs, and they'd meet on the Council Island, thrash out the business of the day, and then get on with meting out justice or whatever it is that they did. So you've got the Castle Island in Loch Finlaggan on the island of Islay in the sea. So you've got these sort of concentric circles of defence as well. So it's a really nice little place. If you're ever on Islay, obviously go to the distilleries, go to all the bars, but also do a little bit of the sort of sightseeing and check out Loch Finlaggan. Lovely little visitor centre there. They're always improving it, updating it. If you go after the visitor centre's closed, you can still walk down and walk out on to the island. So that's a little bit about the name Finlaggan. So it's not a distillery, but it comes from Loch Finlaggan, or Finlaggan, the home of the Lord of the Isles. The first Lord of the Isles was a guy called Somerled, sometimes pronounced, I think, in Gaelic as Sorley, and he was sort of descended from, I think, half Viking, half Irish royal lineage. So if you're in places like, for instance, on Skye, the main square in Portree is Somerled Square. So you'll see evidence of the Lords of the Isles, Somerled, etc., all over the Scottish Islands. So that's enough about that. What we're going to do now is, well, I'll do a little tasting for you. If you've watched my little tasting tutorial, or if you're well versed in Scotch whisky, you'll know on the nose, in the mouth, the after taste, and then maybe add a little bit of water. So that's the processes I'm going to go through. Now, as I've said already, there is a little bit of pinkiness. It's a funny colour, it's quite light, probably because of its age. Quite lightly beaded on the legs as well. Now, one little thing just before I give it a nose. One of the bartenders on Islay, if you're ever on Islay, the Bowmore Hotel, so hello to Peter, both old and young, or senior and junior I should say. Young Peter told me that he felt this was a dram that actually improved if you left it open for about 10 minutes, almost like a good bottle of red wine, and let it sort of air a little bit. So it's been poured for a little while. It's really difficult to describe the nose on this one. It's quite sweet, it's quite light. It's not that whisky, if that makes sense. It's not a word, but you know what I mean. There's a little bit of smoke there, a little bit of peat. You can be quite assured it's an Islay. But a very sort of sweet, it's almost sort of, I suppose it comes from the port, you've got sort of red fruit, so a little bit of sort of plum. A little bit of sort of cherry, sort of red grapes, that sort of idea. So it's got a fruitiness to it, sweetness to it. It's not too overpowering in the smoky area. So that's the nose. Now I mentioned at the start, if I had to guess, obviously I've had some before, my guess would be Laphroaig, and that's boom. Even Ardbeg, it's that sort of idea. It's really smoky, really, it's like burnt sawdust, scrapings off the floor. Really sort of coal, not even charcoal, more sort of coal, real dirty, hard. Quite sharp, I can feel it. Again, it's probably just the age, quite young. So I can feel it quite quickly going down my throat. But the smoke does go a little bit, and you start to get that sweetness coming just from the back and the bottom. But yeah, it's really full on that smoke, that earthiness. Just with that heat, with that, it's hard to describe. Yeah, you can feel the heat. It's not quite a burn, but you can certainly feel the heat. It's not quite as balanced as you'd like. It's certainly, I wouldn't describe it as full-bodied or very rounded. It's got bits that hit you rather than a cuddle. It's more of a sort of shake, I would say. Really nice. Really different. So it's quite light and sweet in the nose, quite punchy in the mouth. A little bit of water now. For my customary. Well, what we'll do, I'll just put 2 drops in. We'll see how this goes. Since it's my last one, can't get the balance right by topping up the whiskey again, so don't want to put too much water in. Yeah, similar but fuller sweetness now, much almost a sort of more sugary. It's quite remarkable how much the water has taken the smoke down quite a few levels. I would even go as far as to say, from describing it more like an Ardbeg or a Laphroaig without water, it's much more like something like a Kalila with the water. You're getting more of the wood. A lot less of the burnt wood, more sort of woody, and it is quite full in your mouth. It's quite remarkable when 2 or 3, and in this case 2 drops of water makes such a change to the whiskey. It is not disappointing. Righty-ho, now I like to recommend bottles. It's unlikely that you'll get one of these. I think it cost me something like about £47, so not at all out of the price range of most people. The bottle was only available in one place to buy, in the village of Bowmore, the main town, the main sprawling metropolis on Islay, little village of Bowmore. The local whisky shop sort of doubles up as the Spar, the little grocery store. And they've got an outstanding range of whisky in there, and that was the only place that you could actually get a bottle of this one, the limited edition. But you can get Finlaggans elsewhere. So if you can't get this, and I'm pretty sure you can't, I had a quick look online before I started this, and I saw one for £199. I'm not sure it's worth that, but if you really want one, if money's no object, then feel free. But there won't be very many left. Now, as I knew this was running out, you'll see on my shelf here, or you might already have noticed, I have a Finlaggan, effectively a replacement. Now Finlaggan, or the Glasgow malt whisky company, they've got a good 4 or 5, I'd say 5 or 6 different Finlaggan expressions. So they do a portwood finish, not cask strength, 46%, so that would be one of my recommendations. They do this one here, obviously, which is a red wine cask matured, and if you can see the colour on that, that's just crazy colour, really dark. So I'm really looking forward to trying this one after this one is long gone. I'll do a little tasting review for that one for you at some point. So look out for the Finlaggan portwood finish. Look out for the Finlaggan red wine cask matured, or there's a just a sort of standard Finlaggan, which I think is just called Old Reserve, and it's basically without the sweetness, without the darker colour. It's your classic Islay. It's smoky, it's peaty, it's pungent. If you like Islay whisky, check out the Finlaggan Old Reserve, and none of them should hurt you in the pocket. So that's just about it from me. If you have liked this video, check out my other videos, like and subscribe, do all these sorts of things. If you've got any suggestions, any queries, obviously get in touch through the comments. But otherwise, I think it's time for me just to say toodaloo. So thank you very much for watching. Cheers for now. Slán Java.